welcome to my third video where I am taking on point by point the assertions that are made in the video by JW Defence about apostates, and I am basically giving my rebuttal to those points. So without further ado, let's get straight on with what he has to say.
So now that we can biblically identify an apostate, how can you protect yourself from them? We find the answer in Romans 16:17. Now I exhort you, brothers, to keep your eye on those who cause divisions and occasions for stumbling, contrary to the teachings that you have learned, and avoid them. The Bible's counsel of how to treat apostates is clear. Avoid them. Now, to avoid apostates means not to read their literature, not to see their videos, websites, or any other media they have.
Now, isn't this convenient? The way to deal with apostates is to avoid them. Does it not seem obvious to you that if there was something wrong with the Watchtower Society, they would want Jehovah's Witnesses to avoid apostates? Of course they would. We avoid apostates by not reading their literature, by not looking at their videos, or any other media that they have. So what they're saying is, trust us, they're evil. Trust us, what they say is untrue. Trust us, they lie. Don't find out about yourself. We've done the research for you. We've tasted the poison and seen how bad it is. So you don't need to worry. You don't need to see for yourself and verify that what we're telling you is true or not. Now, the interesting thing about JW Defence, whoever's made this video, I mentioned in my first video about how apostates are basically anybody who do something differently or believe something differently to the Watchtower Society. This is the September 1st, 1980 letter, which basically says it's enough to think differently from the Watchtower Society and you're an apostate. Well, this JW Defence, he set up a video channel on YouTube in direct contradiction of what Watchtower want him to do. And I'll read you from the Kingdom Ministry. It's the November 1999 Kingdom Ministry. It says, noticeably, there have been a number of individuals who've created websites ostensibly to preach the good news. Look at some of the other videos on his channel, by the way. You'll notice that a lot of them are to do with the organisation and hairy-fairy, isn't it wonderful stuff. Many of these sites are sponsored by indiscreet brothers. Other sites may be sponsored by apostates who wish to lure unsuspecting ones. Commenting on whether there is a need for our brothers to create such websites, I would say, or YouTube channels, Our Kingdom Ministry, November 1997, page 3, stated, there is no need for any individual to prepare internet pages about Jehovah's Witnesses, our activities, or our beliefs. Our official site presents accurate information for any who want it. So there you have it. This JW Defence guy who is criticising apostates and telling people not to look at their videos or websites is himself, in a way, an apostate because he's completely disregarding what Watchtower have said.
Now, does avoiding apostates imply that our faith is not strong enough to discern truth from falsehood? Does it suggest that our faith is not strong enough to discuss different views?
Absolutely, yes it does. Not wanting to listen to the other side of the argument, not wanting to have an open discussion about Watchtower beliefs, especially with those who are critical of them, betrays an extreme insecurity about those beliefs. It shows that you're on dodgy ground. You're not willing to expose your beliefs to the slightest scrutiny. And if it really is the truth, if what Watchtower encourages its witnesses to preach, Jehovah's Witnesses to preach, really is the truth, then it should stand up to even the slightest scrutiny.
Not at all. For in our preaching work, we constantly talk with those who have different views.
That is absolute nonsense. The reason why Jehovah's Witnesses talk to people with different views isn't so that they can enter some open-ended debate or discussion where it's up for grabs who can make the most powerful argument. The reason why Jehovah's Witnesses talk to people with different views is so that they can bulldoze those views and instead introduce the Watchtower Society's teachings. That's why Jehovah's Witnesses do that. So you cannot compare people like myself who Jehovah's Witnesses might encounter in their preaching work, who actually know something about the Watchtower Society, with just any old person on the street who happens to be a Buddhist or a Hindu, who Jehovah's Witnesses are encouraged to talk to in order to convert them to Jehovah's Witnesses. It's a completely false comparison.
Apostates, however, differ from those we meet in our ministry. Apostates are not sincere in their expressions. They are liars and deceivers, bent on destroying our relationship with Jehovah God and His Son, Jesus Christ.
So this is where the video descends into ad hominem. I have absolutely no interest whatsoever in destroying anyone's relationship with any God. If people want to follow Jehovah or Jesus or Buddha or any God, I have no interest in that. All I want to do is show people true information about the Watchtower Society, and what people do with that information is down to them. But really, ad hominem is the lowest form of argumentation. It's basically a case of, oh, we can't argue rationally and logically, we can't, destroy this person's argument, so let's destroy the person. Let's make this person appear evil, stupid, foolish, deceptive, wicked. And that's all this video is trying to do, is make those like me who disagree with the Watchtower Society try and undermine them and discredit them.
Their aim is to manipulate your mind and to undermine your faith. Untruth they kept speaking one to the other. With a smooth lip they keep speaking, even with a double heart. Psalm 12:2.
This is fascinating. So apostates apparently try to manipulate people. It's almost as though the maker of this video is taking all the accusations that apostates make against the organisation about mind control and throwing them back at apostates. Well, all I would say is, is it apostates that tell people to avoid independent thinking? Just take a look at this brief clip from Anthony Morris of the governing body.
The first one is independent thinking. And that is very prominent today. It's growing. This every man for himself philosophy, and that's what's going to bring happiness. And you even hear sometimes in the congregation, nobody tells me what to do. I don't want an elder telling me what to do. Well, if it's based on Scripture, what part of God don't they get? What do you mean you don't want anybody telling you what to do? When you know the truth, you better want somebody like God telling you what to do. Or you're headed, and you're in that false refuge. And if they're so smart, why are their families a miserable failure? Independent thinking with adultery, what's that do for a marriage? See, whereas Jehovah says, no, that's selfish. You don't even think about it. But independent thinking is dangerous.
So the governing body are telling people to avoid independent thinking, thinking for themselves, and yet it's apostates apparently who are trying to manipulate people, who are trying to subvert people's thinking skills and tell them how to live their lives. Apparently it's apostates who are doing that.
Oh, unfortunately, perhaps we have encountered one while preaching out in service. And maybe he planted a seed of doubt in our heart.
I would actually suggest that most intelligent Jehovah's Witnesses, and I know a few Jehovah's Witnesses who are still in the organisation, and I reckon they're more intelligent than I am, I would say that most Jehovah's Witnesses have doubts about the Watchtower Society. I would be very, very surprised if, for example, the majority of Jehovah's Witnesses believe every single word of what's written in the Revelation Climax book, for example, which is just absolute nonsense almost from beginning to end. So I actually think the makers of this video underestimate just how much doubt there is among Jehovah's Witnesses, Because let's face it, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, basically the Watchtower Society says that if you have doubts, you should bury them. You should forget you have them, put them to the back of your mind, and do research in only Watchtower publications, which obviously are only going to make you present the Watchtower Society in a favourable light.
Perhaps one of us has lost a family member or a dear friend to apostasy, or our family or friend may be heading in that direction, and we don't know how to help them.
Believe me, you're not going to be able to help someone who finds the truth about the Watchtower Society. Once you've looked behind the curtain and you've seen, like in The Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy's dog pulls the curtain back and sees this floundering old man at the controls, and the old man saying, "Just ignore the man behind the curtain, I am the Wizard of Oz." It's quite funny, but that's essentially what the Watchtower Society is trying to do with people. Once you have seen the Watchtower Society for what it truly is, once you've looked into their scandals, once you've looked into their terrible, damaging policies, there's just no way you can equate it with being God's organisation. It's just impossible to do. And the only reason you would go back to being a Jehovah's Witness, having found out these things, is because you're blackmailed, because you're having your family weaponised against you, because you're told that unless you come back to Jehovah's Witnesses and attend the meetings and sing the songs and go out in the ministry like a good loyal Jehovah's Witness, your family will never speak to you again, which is absolutely evil. So no, you won't be able to help someone once they find out the truth about the organisation. Provided they're not being blackmailed, they're out of here.
This channel will feature a series of videos that presents a defense against claims that apostates and opposers make about Jehovah's Witnesses and the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society.
I just find it interesting that this channel is setting itself up to defend the Watchtower Society as though the Watchtower Society needs defending. It has 8 million followers around the world who are giving only one side of the story to people. It has, in my view, the media under its thumb, the media reporting very little about Jehovah's Witnesses compared with how much is going on, especially with child abuse. And yet this guy thinks that the Watchtower Society needs defending, which I think kind of betrays a little bit of insecurity there. But perhaps more interesting is that just yesterday, another YouTuber, I'll put a link to the video in the description, she actually phoned the Watchtower Society and asked them about JW Defense. Listen to what they say.
Called JW Defense, and I went and watched 2 of those videos, and I have to tell you, the one called Apostates of Jehovah's Organization was pretty disturbing. Isn't truth a matter of perspective, you know, of the person?
I'm sorry, you're saying that we have a YouTube? We have no YouTube representation. It's a bogus channel.
Okay, well, it says JW Defense, and it uses your same logo from your official website. And this Jehovah Witness told me it was your YouTube channel.
No, it is a violation of copyright, and we have no connection to it.
Okay, well, they use things from your official website. You know, they've got quotes, they've got pictures.
There are people that do that, and we are trying to stop it from our legal department is at work and trying to put an end to it. What happens with these quotes, ma'am, is that they are partial quotes or taken out of context. They are misrepresentations of our beliefs, and they are posted by someone who is an opposer or something of this nature. So we encourage people to find out what we believe by going to our official website at jw.org and jw.org only. That's the only official website that we have. Everything else is a violation of copyright. It is against the law. So whoever did that obviously has some very poor decision-making factors in mind, and they are in violation of the law.
So the Watchtower Society, which according to this YouTuber needs defending, is actually accusing this same YouTuber of being a criminal, which, you know, they have a point. This guy is using the jw.org logo, which is trademarked, okay? It shouldn't be used by anyone other than the Watchtower Society, and they're using it on their own channel. So I just find it fascinating that here we have someone who wants to defend the Watchtower Society, but when asked, the Watchtower Society basically deny all knowledge and say this guy's a criminal, he's breaking the law, we don't want anything to do with him. So it's a little bit unrequited, this relationship.
The intention here is to sanctify and defend Jehovah's name, and to prepare ourselves to always be ready to make a defense before everyone that demands of you a reason for the hope in you, but doing so together with a mild temper and deep respect. 1 Peter 3:15.
Mild temper and deep respect. Okay, so the way to deal with people, apparently, according to this scripture at least, people who approach Jehovah's Witnesses and challenge them on certain issues, the way to deal with them is with a mild temper and with deep respect. And yet, what have we seen in this video? I am an apostate, and I have, as an apostate, have been accused of not being genuine, of being deceitful, of trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, of trying to supplant people's faith, and of lying. Has there been a single shred of evidence presented to prove why I am all these things? Not at all. And yet apparently all of this has been done with a mild temper and with respect for me. Well, I don't feel as though I have been respected as a human being having watched this video. In fact, I feel as though I've been slandered, which, as I've already explained, is not something to be taken lightly by Jehovah's Witnesses. So I hope you've found this video interesting. I did feel that there was a need to answer some of the things that were said in this video. Probably different ones who have left the organisation would have different views to me. They would respond to the video differently to me, but this is how I see things for what it's worth. And I repeat my challenge from the first video. If you are JW Defence, if you are watching this video, please get in touch with me. You can find my email address on my website, jwsurvey.org, and by all means I will have a debate with you. I will discuss these supposed lies that I've been telling. I will discuss those openly over Skype or over a phone call, which will turn into a video, and we'll let everyone see what these accusations are. I'm quite happy to do that. You know, I consider myself an apostate, so if you are intent on defending the Watchtower Society, I'm at your disposal, okay? That's an open invitation. Somehow I doubt that you'll get in touch though. So yeah, I hope that both Jehovah's Witnesses and former Jehovah's Witnesses have found this video helpful, and thank you for watching.